Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic: people who live at tourist destinations. What is it you wish tourists would stop doing when visiting? Clean up your fucking trash. I used to live in a spring break destination which was a small surf town. After spring break, people would be cleaning up pounds upon pounds of beer cans, broken bottles, needles, used condoms. Fucking revolting. I'm from Hawaii. This is the biggest issue here as well. And please respect the land. We Hawaiians cherish it. Give people a waiver, make them pay a fee for trash, and at the end of the day they bring a bag of trash and the waiver and get their money back. Stopping their cars in the middle of the road to take in a view. WTF. They do this for wildlife where I live as well. I've seen idiots chasing bears with cubs into the forest to take pictures with their phones. A friend of mine lost a relative because a touro in a bear jam didn't look before pulling back into traffic on the road because he was so focused on the bear and didn't see the cyclists. Hit one of them and broke the cyclist's neck. Sort of related, but we get a lot of folk moving here who are used to city living. They visit once, then buy a $3-4 million home and decide they're nature people now. It's really been ratcheting up lately. The sheer number of complaints about wildlife are astounding. My favorite, and most emblematic example, was that someone wrote a Nextdoor post about how the park rangers wouldn't come out when she called about a bear. That was on the trail. In the woods. Of a national forest. She was indignant and asked if the sheriff department would do anything. Lady, that bear's family has been here many more generations than you or me. It's their trail. Driving drunk. I live in Summer County, California. Make sure you've got a sober driver FFS. The roads around here are never more dangerous than winery tasting room closing time on a sunny weekend. Driving summer roads drunk is basically assisted suicide. Assistance coming from the massive curves and double backs. Plus there's always someone on a bicycle around the curve. These comments make me feel like a good tourist. Seriously. It all basically boils down to don't trash the place and be mindful of your surroundings. Really. People should be acting like this every day, whether vacationing or at home. Stopping dead in a crowd in the middle of the sidewalk. Related, walking 7 abreast and agonizingly slowly when people have fucking places to be. This. 4 people would walk slow as shit, shoulder to shoulder in a place like NYC. Stop feeding the damn seagulls. God admit this. Flying rat-ass bitches have literally been trained to expect food if you're standing on anything dock or deck shaped. Some will even try to snatch it from your hands. And stay off the fucking dunes. Watching seagulls steal entire fucking ice cream cones from the innocent hands of soon-to-be crying children is its own kind of tourist attraction in some beachside towns. I worked at Disney World for a few years and the squirrels there are vicious. People think it's fun to feed them, so they are completely fearless. They'll hop right into a stroller and grab food from a child. Edit, absolutely loved going on to Reddit a few hours later and seeing a bunch of aggressive squirrel stories. I've legit had a squirrel at a theme park come up to me and hold out its hand, paw. Expecting food. At least it was polite about it. Stop walking out into the middle of an active downtown street to take group pictures of yourselves in cheerleading outfits on the spot where Kennedy was shot. That's a thing. I've seen it several times. There must be some cheerleading center in the West End or something. They're always there. The Spaghetti Warehouse was their main hangout before it closed. Very much so. There's a painted X in the middle of the road where he was headshot. It's really morbid, to be honest. When my family visited Dallas we did go see the spot, but we didn't do the stand in the road for a photo shtick. It was morbid to me even at a young age. Leave the wildlife alone. And this doesn't just extend to tourists but to people that live here too. 45+ coyote attacks last year in no small part because of people giving them food leading to a cull, bears getting habituated to people because they are being given food leading to them getting killed, otters and sea lions getting fed. They're not cute cuddly things. They're wild animals and will kill you, and then, because they are doing what they do, they'll get killed because they are dangerous to humans. When in reality they are only dangerous to ignorant rubes with no respect for nature. I live in Florida. Alligators are not your friend. Snakes are not your friend. Leave the birds alone. And stop feeding them. Florida Statute 372.667 makes it a misdemeanor to feed alligators or crocodiles. Here in SC, the fine can be up to $1,000. Best to leave them alone. Deface World Heritage Sites for souvenirs or internet clout. For example, the Colosseum in Rome has graffiti carved into its walls by asshole tourists, and Stonehenge is closed off to the public because assholes were chipping pieces off for souvenirs. It is worth noting, at one point the caretakers at Stonehenge handed out rock hammers to tourists for the specific purpose of chipping off bits to take as souvenirs. That was before the modern idea of museum as conservation of history. That is horrifying. Just for context, both of these places have been subject to vandalism for more than a millennia. This isn't some new phenomenon created by Instagram. The concept of a World Heritage Site that ought to remain untouched for future generations is a relatively recent one. Of course, it's much easier these days to whip out a Sharpie than to whip out a chisel, but for centuries that was indeed common. Indeed, visitors to Stonehenge in the late 1800s were issued chisels upon arrival, so they could take a bit of Stonehenge with them. The practice wasn't banned until the early 1900s, and even then it continued ad hoc. Stonehenge was bought for a song at auction 100 years ago and was at the time one of the first places to even be a national/World Heritage Site, and even then people were permitted to climb on the stones. When they were eventually roped off, it was due to the general erosion and impact of allowing people to touch and climb and stand on the stones for years, not due to anyone coming at them with a hammer and chisel. The two instances of actual vandalism in the past 2 decades, a small part of an important stone chipped off and a smiley face in spray paint, were both national news. Stop being a belligerent asshole just because you're in Ennis. It's still not an excuse to get blackout drunk, litter, and make hell for food service workers. I will say it's tough not to get blackout drunk when I walked into my first bar and ordered 1 beer, dude handed me 3. I said no, I only ordered 1, and he said it's buy 1 get 2 free, would you like a big cup to carry that to go? New Orleans is on my short list of cities I want to visit, mostly because of the food. Damn sure I'm going to treat those people with the utmost respect. I visited New Orleans in 2010 and still have daydreams about the food. In New York, if you visit, please walk on the right side of the sidewalk, not the left. Also, if you need to stop and look at your phone or have a conversation with your fellow travelers, step aside. People are walking, and if you abruptly stop, it usually results in someone bumping into you. Also, do not walk like 5 people side by side and walking slowly. People can't get around you. It is infuriating. But, please keep visiting NYC. Hey. I'm walking here. Forget about it. I paid a lot to be here. Change, blank, or I'll leave a horrible review. Driving like a dickhead, leaving garbage anywhere but a rubbish bin, stopping in the middle of the road to let out your family of 12 instead of pulling into the parking lot. I have a lot of stories. I live in Hawaii and work only with tourists. Best yet, my company was asked to contact the cruise ship company to have them move the ship because it disrupted the sunset. Please move that ship, it's making my sunset pictures borrowed. What kind of person genuinely thinks that's not insane? Amsterdam. Walking around like they are at Legoland, blindly stepping into traffic, oblivious to the fact that people actually live here. We use the bike to get to work, to get groceries, we are not just aimlessly cycling around for the fun of it. I live in the Netherlands, so I'm used to bikes. Amsterdam, however, truly is on another level. The residents ride their bikes like they are ready to kill anyone standing in their way. I had new people living in Amsterdam openly telling me they bike faster when they see someone on the bike lane to hit them harder. I was like, damn, I was born here but I was taught to give them some space. Many apologies for mistaking the curbed bike lane as a pedestrian walkway. I discovered within 2 minutes of leaving the train station at 10 p.m. that it was not. Won't make that mistake again. Allow me from 20 years ago to take this opportunity to officially apologize for recreating the Abbey Road picture with my friends during a college trip to London. Don't feel too bad about it, this is so common that there's a live cam pointing at the crossing. Watch for a minute and see how many people pose. https://www.earthcam.com/world/England/London/Abbey Road. Absolutely chuffed at how much this has entertained everyone. It's slowing down a bit now, but for those of you getting here late, I strongly recommend checking back during the day, it's ridiculous. not even a minute. Clicked on the link and watched for 5 seconds. As someone who does frequently have to commute through Abbey Road, it is always a pain to have to go down that street. Unless it's raining. So most of the time it isn't a pain. Spain. We get a shitfuckto of tourists. Very well behaved for the most part where I am. So, thanks for doing it right, tourists. The worst is littering on the beach, which is thankfully pretty rare. I occasionally see someone put a cigarette butt in the sand. A lot are taken away when they leave, but the sand has a way of hiding stuff, so a lot remain. I'll give you tourists one tip. Night swimming. If you put your keys, glasses, etc. down in the sand, they're gone. Between the sand and the dark, you'll never see them again. Spain here as well, up in a mountain town. For me it's the music / noise. Especially on a hiking trail or in a beautiful secluded scenic area in the woods. I do not want to listen to private conversations on speakerphone and music from a loud boom box.